I can't give you what you won't take. You can have her now. You want more help? Mr. Coven was still in bed Sunday morning when two of them saw the gun on the drawer. More? Spend some time with Mr. Hildebrand. I'll stake my license against your badge that he'll remember that when he spoke with Mrs. Coven in the hall, she said something that caused him to open the drawer and look at the gun. Still more? Take the contents of her room to your laboratory. She must have hidden the gun among her intimate things, and you should find evidence.
Take me home, Harry.
Marcel.
I said, take me home.
Sit down, Marcy. I'll handle this. If you've got a record of what I said here Saturday, all right. I lied to the cops. So what? I didn't
Be
want...
quiet, Harry. Get a lawyer and let him talk. Don't say anything.
That's good advice, especially, Mr. Coven, since I hadn't quite finished. It's a matter of record that Mr. Getz not only owned the house you live in, but also that he owned Dazzle Dan and permitted you to take only 10% of the proceeds. In one episode repeated annually, he buys peaches from two characters named Aggie Ghoul and Haggie Cruel. And Aggie Ghoul, saying that she owns the tree, gives Haggie Cruel 10% of the amount received and pockets the rest. It's a childish allegory. A.G. are the initials Adrian Getz. Haggie Cruel has the same initials as you, Mr. Coven. Now, it's not credible that that's coincidence, not repeated annually. Mr. Getz must have had a singularly contorted psyche, taking delight as he did in compelling you each year to publish that for a meager 10%.
Not of the net. 10% of the gross. Over 400 a week.
You worm.
What?
I said you worm. Not even a worm. Worms have guts, don't they? The one time you ever acted like a man and you didn't have the guts to see it through.
I don't know what you're talking...
You're right, Mr. Wolf. Getz owned Dazzle Dan. He took Harry in years ago to front it and draw it. Harry should have insisted on an even split right then, but he didn't. When Dazzle Dan caught on and kept getting bigger and bigger, Getz didn't mind Harry having the name and the fame as long as he owned it and got the money. He was a vampire.
Yeah, I'll accept that.
When I found out how it was, I tried to talk some sense into Harry. I told him his name had been connected with Dazzle Dan so long that Getz would have to give him a bigger share, at least half, if he demanded it. But Harry just wasn't man enough to do that. I didn't let up. I kept after him, I admit that. I'll admit it on the witness stand if I have to. And I admit I didn't know him as well as I thought I did. I didn't know there was any danger of making him desperate enough to commit murder. I didn't know he had it in him. Of course he'll break down, but if he says I knew that he decided to kill Getz, I'll have to deny it because it's not true. I didn't.
Marcy.
Oh, I see. First you plan to put it on a stranger, Mr. Goodwin, and failing that, you put it on your husband. No, madam. Your silliest mistake was opening the window to kill the monkey. But there were others, including underestimating my confidence in Mr. Goodwin. Mr. Kramer?
Starring in today's episode were Mavor Moore as Nero Wolfe, Dawn Franks as Archie Goodwin, and Cecil Linder as Inspector Kramer. Jack Creeley was Harry Coven, Tricia Collins, Pat Lowell, Sherry Flett, Marcel Coven, David Hemblin, Adrian Getz, Richard Monette, Pete Jordan, and Eric Peterson was Hildebrand. Music was composed and conducted by Don Gillis. Technical operations, John Jessup. Sound effects, Bill Robinson. Production assistant was Nancy McElveen, and casting consultant, Ann Weldon Tate. The Squirt and the Monkey was written and produced in Toronto by Ron Hartman. next week.
Is that a siren, Archie?